Hey everyone, my name is Courtney Budzyn and this is What's for Din. Today I'm going to be showing you a really simple one-pan recipe. This is baked pesto chicken. It's absolutely delicious, really healthy for you, and extremely easy to make. So let's go over the ingredients. So you're going to need some basil pesto, and I just made this, and if you want to know how to make homemade basil pesto, check out my previous video. It's really simple to make it and it tastes way better than store-bought, trust me. You're also going to need some freshly grated Parmesan cheese, some garlic, some sliced up tomatoes. I'm using Roma tomatoes only because they're not quite as juicy and I don't want so much juice at the bottom of my pan. Some chicken breast, apparently, and you're also gonna need some breadcrumbs. Now I'm gonna make my own breadcrumbs and all I'm using is some just plain old, well not old, but plain white bread. It's just plain Italian bread. It's not stale or anything. You really don't have to use stale bread. I do this all the time and I never have a problem. So let's move on to making the breadcrumbs. First thing I'm going to do is throw in my garlic clove, add some salt. Oh, and I forgot to mention the seasonings. I always add Italian seasoning when I make breadcrumbs. It's the same thing pretty much that I use in the breading for my chicken Parmesan. Some garlic powder, even though I already added the garlic. Cayenne, because my husband's obsessed with it. And me. Can't just blame it on him. Some pepper. And I'm just going to use a little bit of olive oil in here, only because I want the breadcrumbs to be able to stick together. So just a little bit of that. Pop the lid on. Don't mind my missing nail polish. Blend this up. Okay, now I'm going to add the Parmesan. My oven's preheated, as you can hear. There's a clump in there, but it'll go. Just going to add my Parmesan cheese right to it. And you can sprinkle this on top if you don't want to blend it in with your breadcrumbs, but I like it this way. Okay, make sure that's, yep, everything's, and that's how it should look. See, it's really simple to make your own breadcrumbs. There's no reason to really buy any. All right, next step we're going to do, I'm going to salt and pepper and season my chicken. So I'm going to add salt. Now I'm using boneless, skinless chicken breasts, and you can also pound these out pretty thin, but I liked mine to be about, I mean, you can see, I don't like them to be extremely thin. So we're gonna season both sides, salt, pepper, of course the Italian seasoning. These, you don't have to use the Italian seasoning. I just find that if I season every layer, it tastes so much better. And I'm kind of obsessed with seasonings, so. But you can just use salt and pepper and you'd be good to go if you didn't have the other things in your pantry. Cayenne. Okay, now I'm going to flip it and do the same thing to the other side. The next step would be adding our basil pesto. And I would say about a tablespoon, excuse me, a tablespoon or a teaspoon depending on how big your chicken is. Make sure you don't touch the spoon to the chicken until you're sure you got as much as you need, because then you don't want to cross-contaminate. I think a little bit more on this one. You can be pretty generous. Okay, so now I'm done with the pesto, so I'm just going to smear it out. Smear it. Okay, next step is just adding our tomatoes right on top. Then we're going to add just a little bit more salt to the top of our tomatoes because, you know, tomatoes are kind of bland without some seasoning. Okay, and then the last step, we're going to add our breadcrumbs right to the top of that. You know what? I'm using my hand. And this adds a really nice crispy texture to it, as opposed to just putting cheese on top. Because it's, if you just use cheese, then you're going to have soft chicken, soft pesto, soft cooked tomatoes, and soft cheese. But I like a little bit of added texture. Okay, now I'm going to add just a little bit more olive oil to the top of these, just so that it ensures that it'll brown well. Okay, and just like that, that's it. Simple, easy. We're going to throw this in a 425-degree oven for about 30 minutes. And that also depends on how hot your oven is or how big your chicken breasts are. If they're smaller, takes less time, you know, common sense. So just keep an eye on them. But mine, I think, will take about 30 minutes. So throwing them in the oven now. Okay, it was in the oven for exactly 30 minutes and it smells beautiful in here. So I'm going to dig in. You can see how, look at that, the breadcrumbs on top. that little bit of crunchiness. And then I just chopped up some fresh basil and then put it on the top. Let me get a piece so you can see. You can see this chicken is still juicy. Man, that is so good. And the best part about it is it's so healthy for you. You don't have to feel guilty about putting 10 pounds of cheese on it. Oh, here, you want to see from the side what that looks like? So I hope you enjoyed spending time with me, and if you recreate this recipe, please let me know on my Instagram. Please comment, like this video, and subscribe because I have many more recipes to come. So I look forward to seeing you soon.